Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Old Dude Knows. Today, on the way to work, I was listening to the oldies station, or as I like to call it, good music, and they played a couple of songs back to back. I don't know if they meant to do it. Well, I know they meant to play the songs, but I don't know if they meant to play. They were two Vietnam protest type songs, and it got me thinking. There were a lot of Vietnam protest songs, socially relevant songs. But what songs were socially relevant uh, when I was growing up listening to music in my teens through early 20s? And there were actually quite a few. They weren't maybe as, some of them were in your face with social meaning. Other ones were a little more subtle. So I went through, thought of, thought of some that were meaningful to me, and uh, hopefully you'll meaningful to you. For those of you who are younger, I'm sure there are some songs that are socially relevant now. I just can't listen to them. They're just. I try not to listen to anything made after like I don't know 2000. There are some exceptions. Chris Stapleton, I'll listen to. Some of the outlaw country like that. The Rock, what's the Rock? It's pretty bad. I can't listen to it. Sometimes some of the younger people will let me know of a band and I'll listen to them, and there's some of them are okay, but I don't know much about it. So if there are any new songs with social relevance, other than I don't mean songs that are just whining about how bad it is. I mean something that is actually has some social relevance, trying to make a change or something. You can put it in the comments. In my lifetime, these are in order of how they came out. These are not my favorite, and these are not even the best. These are just ones that spoke to me. First one, 1979, uh, Pink Floyd, Another Brick in the Wall. This was relevant then, and with the state of our government education systems now, is even more relevant. Apparently, Great Britain was their public or government schools got worse, got bad before ours did. Ours are just terrible now. You need to listen to the words of these songs and take it to heart. Um, for those of you who don't know, probably anybody under 50, this was Another Brick in the Wall is actually three parts. The part you think you know is part two. Um, but anyway, that's not important. Just listen to some of these lines and tell me if this doesn't sound like our government school system now. We don't need no education. We don't need no thought control. No dark sarcasm in the classroom. Teacher, leave them kids alone. Hey, teacher, leave them kids alone. It's not talking about not teaching them math. It's talking about not putting your political beliefs into the teaching system. Um, Roger Waters saying it first, and then they did a very cool thing. They had the Is, Islington Green School students sing the same lines over again. Uh, I really thought that in the last verse in part three, I don't need no arms around me. I don't need no drugs to call me. I have seen writing on the wall. Don't think I need anything at all. No, I don't need anything at all. And that is that is what we need from our public education system right now. Nothing at all. It needs to be completely overhauled, even more than it did then. I'm looking forward to the end of the Department of Education and the going back to local school districts running their school, and maybe we can all sing this song happily after that as a victory march. Um, One thing, the next one, 1980, Crazy Train. For those of you who just don't listen to the words, just think it's Ozzy being Ozzy. This song was about the Cold War and about the hopelessness of impending nuclear war that people at that time through the 60s and 70s were raised under. If you listen to the words, um, crazy, but that's how it goes. Millions of people living as foes. Maybe it's not too late to learn how to love and forget how to hate. Uh, but I mean, millions of people living as foes who didn't know each other or didn't. You were just born to a side. I've listened to preachers. I've listened to fools. I've watched all the dropouts who make their own rule. One person conditioned to rule and control. The media sells it, and you live the role. That's still going on today. The media is still telling us what to do, and too many people are just living the role there. Not about the Cold War, but about other things. Um, then the heirs of the Cold War, that's what we've become. Inheriting troubles, I'm mentally numb. Crazy, I just cannot bear. I'm living with something that just isn't fair. Um, the Cold War, as such, is over. Still, you've got the United States and China. There's still that pall kind of over world politics. Russia's still causing trouble, but there's not the fear. I don't think there is the fear among kids that there could just be a nuclear war at any time, like there was during the Cold War. So, song spoke to me then. Hopefully, we are kind of past the problem there. Uh, Next one, 1982, a country song. I wasn't really big into country in 1982, but my homeboy, Northern California boy, Merle Haggard, had the song "Are the Good Times Really Over?" This song, if you just listen to it, for one time, I don't really, just kind of not paying attention. It sounds like it's nostalgia, but it was more touching on like societal concerns and cultural shifts. He reflects on the erosion of traditional values, expresses worries about the future. Uh, you know, the thing is, a lot of it's still right. A lot of it, are the good times really over for good? If you listen to the whole song, though, you'll hear, because we live in America, although a Ford and a Chevy will probably never be made to last 10 years like they should, but, I mean, maybe a Honda will. But anyway, Merle ends the song with, yes, we can do these things, and the good times aren't over for good. I still believe that we're in some bad times now, but we seem to be kind of turning the corner. So, like I say, I still don't think they'll make a Ford and a Chevy to last 10 years like they should, but the other stuff could make a comeback. So, Merle Haggard, 1982. The next one, 1983, Sunday Bloody Sunday. It was basically about the troubles in Northern Ireland is what it was written about. Bloody Sunday, 1972, I think, in Derry, where the British shot 13 or 14 Catholics in Belfast, in Derry, which is near Belfast. It's just, again, government overreach, the government of Great Britain being in the northern counties where they have no business being. But Larry Mullen Jr., who is the drummer, everybody knows Edge and Bono, but there are two other people in the band. Larry Mullen Jr. had this to say: we're into the politics of people. We're not into politics. Like you talk about Northern Ireland, Sunday Bloody Sunday, people sort of think, oh, it's the time when 13 Catholics were shot by British soldiers. But that's not what this song's about. That's an incident, the most famous incident in Northern Ireland, and it's the strongest way of saying, how long do we have to put up with this? I don't care who's who, Catholics, Protestants, whatever. You know that people are dying every single day through bitterness and hate, and we're saying why. What's the point? And you can move that into other places like El Salvador, or other similar situations where people are dying. Let's forget the politics. Let's stop shooting each other and sit around the table and talk about it. There's a lot of bands taking sides in political crap, etc. Well, so what? The real battle is that people are dying, and that's the real battle. So the focus of the song to them was not the troubles in Ireland, although that was the plot that they showed. What they were talking about is we need to do more talking among the groups, more dialogue, uh, exchanging of facts, less just picking a side and not discussing it. Uh, that's kind of happened lately here too, hasn't it? Um, Another one that was completely out there, not even pretending like it wasn't, was "Do They Know It's Christmas" 1984. I never knew how this started. I mean, I knew that it was Bob Geldof, the Boomtown Rats. Um, what happened was Bob Geldof's uh, girlfriend was television presenter Paula Yates. Uh, she was part of the, I can't think here, somewhere it shows, somewhere in Great Britain anyway. I guess that doesn't really matter. Well, BBC journalist Michael Burrick in 1984 drew attention to the famine in Ethiopia. BBC News crew documented it, and there was a report on the 23rd of October 1984, and the line was a biblical famine in the 20th century. And there was this woman, Claire Bertschinger, who was a nurse, and it showed her and what she had to do on a daily basis. There was not enough food. And this woman, who was a nurse, had X amount of food and way too many kids. And it showed her having to make the decision on which kids would get the food and which kids were too far gone, they were going to die anyway. And this poor woman had to make the choice of who got the food and who died. So Paula Yates saw this at her station a couple times, became very upset about it, showed it to Bob Geldof. So they came up with the idea. They did the song "Do They Know It's Christmas." They raised £8 million, which is what, $11 million for Ethiopia within a year, far exceeding what they hoped. This also started the trend. This was the first one. So it started, We Are the World, later on by the USA for Africa. This led into things like Comic Relief, Live Aid. This was the first one where different artists, big time artists, got together for a cause. There was a line in that song that really got me, and it was Bono. If you're ever going to do one of these things, you got to get Bono. I mean, he's kind of irritating, but he'll show up for a good cause, and the boy can sing. And the line is, "Well, tonight, thank God it's them instead of you." Nobody wanted to sing that line. Bono didn't want to sing that line. It says, Bono said he really, really loathed that line. And Geldof just kept getting on him. Look, you're the only one who could do it. Geldof said this was not soggy liberalism but coded anger like Michael Burke's report. And he said Bono nailed it because he's got a voice from God, and he can absorb the sense of a song like few others. Pretty much all of U2 was in it. Boomtown Rats, Spandau Ballet, Duran Duran, Boy George, Sting. And I don't know why, and I tried to find out today in my minutes of research, all these British groups and Kool and the Gang. I don't know why. I don't know why they were there. I don't know why Kool and the Gang was in it. I couldn't find the connection. But you get all these British rockers of the early to mid 80s and Kool and the Gang, who, by the way, better than the Commodores. The next one kind of came out of that whole idea, the next year, 1985, the song Sun City, or I ain't gonna play Sun City. Anyway, it was a protest song written by Lil Steven Van Zandt. For you younger people, that is the guy from Sopranos. Uh, he came up with this idea. And Sun City was a place in Botswana, I think. Anyway, South Africa, where there was this big, very expensive, very, as the British would say, posh club vacation area uh, built amongst where they had shipped black people in apartheid out of. They got too many black people in certain areas of South Africa. They would send them out there. Well, Sun City's in this area. A lot of European tourists go there. A lot of the rich South Africans went there, and they decided that they weren't going to, that they shouldn't support the apartheid government of South Africa by making money for the oppressors that owned Sun City. So Stephen Van Zandt started writing it. He got some people to go in. A couple of people are you notice them because they weren't in the song. Bruce Springsteen not in the song, although Clarence Clemens and Little Steve Van Zandt were, because it wasn't going to make Bruce any money, so he didn't care. Also, Paul Simon was originally going to be in it, but then one of the verses actually named names in the original song. I know Linda Ronstadt was named. That was the one that that Paul Simon had a problem with. He didn't want to name the names of the people who had played Sun City. He had no problem saying not to, but he wasn't going to call out the people who did. So he opted out of the song. Then when they actually did the song, that verse had to be left out. They had a huge problem getting this song made, getting the video made, getting it put out. Too many people, too many business people and executives of the record companies were scared. They didn't want old rich white people mad at them. So they didn't want to make the song. But it ended up getting made. Brought a lot of... I knew what apartheid was. And I knew the basic concept. I knew who Nelson Mandela was. I knew who Bishop Desmond Tutu was. But until this song, until I started looking at it, I guess it never really dawned on me that how they were. I knew that apartheid, I knew that the living in two different, I knew that was bad enough. But I guess it had never occurred to me that not only were they not giving the blacks in South Africa equal rights, they were using them to make money for themselves. I guess at that age I hadn't thought far enough to put that together. People in it included Bob Dylan, Herbie Hancock, Ringo Starr, Lou Reed, Run DMC, Peter Gabriel, Jackson Brown. Jackson Brown, this is before Jackson Brown lost his brain in political stuff. So, got to give him credit for doing this. Later on, Jackson Brown, rich, privileged person, not his fault, had never really seen hard times, started doing political stuff, and he had no clue what he was talking about. They're actually pretty funny. George Clinton, Keith Richards, Ronnie Wood, Bonnie Raitt, both Hall and Oates, Jimmy Cliff, Pete Townsend. So it was an all-star crew. Pat Benatar, Clarence Clemens, and Joey Ramone. I remember the video. They were all like walking out. Hey, gonna play something. It was a pretty good video. And it made me look more into it and realized it was deeper than I thought it was. The last one, 1991, Winds of Change by the Scorpions. It was released during Glasnost, just as the Soviet Union is falling. It became a worldwide hit. It topped the charts in Germany and other countries around Europe. It peaked at number 4 in the United States, number 2 in the United Kingdom. The opening line refers to some Moscow landmarks. You know, I follow the Moskov, which is a river, down to Gorky Park, listening to the wind of change. Moskva is basically the word for Moscow. It's also so their word for Moscow is Moscow, and there's also the Moscow River runs through Moscow. Maxim Gorky, of course, the writer. Gorky Park in urban. It's like the Central Park for Moscow. There's another part of the song which mentions and I'm going to say this wrong. I'm not going to sing it because you guys did nothing wrong. But it's balaaka, which is a Russian stringed instrument, and it's mentioned in the line, "Let your balaaka sing while my guitar wants to say." So, I guess I did this. Their songs have always touched our emotions, and they can be used to, for a political point or to show something. And I think there needs to be more of that. First of all, there needs to be better music, and I think if you think back to your late teens, early 20s, or if you're in your late teens, early 20s, the songs now, even pop secular songs, can make you think, make you look deeper into your world. These songs did it for me, and maybe this will make you think of the songs that did it for you and revisit those songs, especially if you're becoming an old dude or an older woman, and think of how those songs made you feel, and think of the hope you had then if you're getting jaded, and how you can still we can still make a difference. So this old dude knows, now you know. Till next time.